Hi, I just wanted to do a quick video. This is something that often comes up with clients, and I thought it would be a good one of the introductory videos to start off this channel with. And that's the issue about how long counseling should take. The question, how long will this take? How long should I come in for? How many sessions will this be? It's an important question, right? If you're giving your hard-earned money to a counselor to do work, there should be almost an expectation of kind of how long you should be in there for. But the question starts to get a little bit more complicated depending upon various different things. So I'm just going to talk briefly about some of those issues. And also, I think it's a good kind of reminder, especially for potential clients, to think about how long are your expectations for counseling? What are your expectations for counseling? So the question about how long it should take. The truth is that counseling and psychotherapy and spiritual direction too, any form of one-on-one counseling is going to depend on the person. That's really the truth of it. It depends on your goals. It depends on where you're at. It depends on the work and how productive that work is too. Some very specific forms and modalities of therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, very specific forms and modalities. They often have a timeline because they are based on more of a treatment plan model. So you'll come in after the intake, within the first session or two, a treatment plan will be offered to say these are the goals over the next however long, and these are the stage posts that we will meet in each time frame. With cognitive behavioral therapy, often it can be 10 sessions. It can be upwards of 20 sessions, but it's usually limited. It's not going to continue on because it's very specific. These are the goals we're working on. These are very specific, concrete goals, and these are the stage posts and the mini goals that we will reach that main goal. For something like more of an awareness-based therapy or talk therapy, really the sessions and the amount of time taken will be dependent upon how much comes up, right? So for certain clients, there may be the need for 5 sessions to uncover the same form of work that somebody else might take 3 sessions or 7 sessions to come to, right? Those understandings, that building of self-awareness, and it really is paced to the individual client. And so we're not going to rush through to try to get to a specific goal if the client isn't there, because then it's just wasted time, right? Insurance companies and medical companies often will require a specific time frame because they're operating from the medical model. And those therapies that operate more from the medical model, which is, we're going to identify what's wrong with you, we're going to figure this out, we're going to offer you the treatment plan, and that's that. And so they often will cater to much smaller numbers. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 20. And then other models, more holistic models, the way I work is really self-dependent on the client and their goals and the way that the goals shift. That's something that's also very important. I'll probably do a video on goals specifically. And so, I've had clients who the frequency of sessions go down, but we're still seeing each other. So I have had clients who they wanted to come in every week at the beginning, and then slowly over, after 25 sessions, 30 sessions, they start to come in every other week, and then after that they may come in only once a month. By then what's happened is the experience of therapy and the kind of the way that the person works is has changed. So they become experienced in the process. They become experienced in kind of working within these areas, and so it takes them less time to get to the same place that they might have taken 2 or 3 sessions to get to when they first started. The more therapy you do, the more tools you gain, the more experience you have with looking at issues that come up. And that is a beautiful thing, right? You should be able to, after 20 sessions, you should have picked up tools in order to kind of apply to your own life. So the frequency might go down, but they might continue. And then we have clients, and this is the vast majority of them, I would say, get to a stage where the counseling sessions are not coming up with anything. There's nothing new coming up, right? The work that was originally kind of focused on and the goals that were focused on before have now changed, adapted. The client has tools that they can use in their life. They've built new mechanisms. They've developed an understanding and an awareness. And so it's time to come to something we in the field call graduation or closure. This is a stage, a very important stage. Just as beginnings are very important, a good closure is crucial. Clients start to identify that the sessions are no longer, coming up with anything, and they feel fine, right? That really is the goal of counseling, right? You want people to come in, work through their issues and work through their processes and get to a state where they're okay, at least on whatever they came in for. And so we look at graduating, and closing down is very much a line in the sand. It's my process with that is when we get to that point where closure has been identified, okay, I want to close down now. Okay. We do a look back. So we look at the progress that has been gained. I take out my intake that I do at the very beginning when I start working with somebody, and we look at the goals that they came in with. And we now look at kind of how those goals have shifted and where they are at now, where the client is at now. We go through the file, we talk about specific aha moments. I love Oprah Winfrey, by the way, aha moments. And we identify what were some of the turning points, what were some of the major lessons, what were some of the major insights that were gained by the client, and how are those going to be applied to the future. We also we identify kind of the working relationship too. This is also my opportunity to ask the client how my work with them was, right? Was there anything that worked very well for them? Was there something that didn't work very well for them? And the client is completely optional if the client wants to share that with me. But I always open that up to the client. Let's reflect on the working relationship. What worked, what didn't work. Because not only am I going to grow from that, but that also gives the ownership and underlines the ownership of the process to the client. Because it's the client ultimately who the work is going to benefit. I'm here as a guide, I'm here as a mirror, I'm here to reflect back, but I'm certainly not here to be the expert. My whole work is to get the client to the point where they are the expert of their life, right? Or to remind them of that. And so when we start to talk about that, we close down. And we talk about that. We talk about how an ending will affect the client. We talk about how what possible emotions might come up, because counseling and psychotherapy are such intimate relationships, and it's a privilege to be in this profession because I get to sit there with people as they talk about their most intimate and vulnerable places. We develop that trust, we develop that rapport, we develop that relationship. And suddenly I'm not going to be in their life. That relationship has ended, right? But it can feel like a very intimate relationship. Professional, intimate relationship. That's a crucial point. And so that's ending. What is that like for the client? With the understanding that we will actually close down, right? So then we close down, and then one of my personal rituals that I do with clients is that I invite them to bring in an object that reminds them of the work that they've done. Something tactile, something that will act as a reminder of the relationship. That can be a little toy, a stone, a pebble. Somebody once brought in a little carving, something small. And what I do with that is I place that into a little cairn that I've built in my office. And that cairn grows every time a client graduates. And what that does is that is a touchstone for when the client returns. I make a note of what the object is, what significance that is to the client. And if the client returns, because the door is always open for a client to come back and work on something different, I open back up with, well, this is the object that you left behind when we closed it down last time. This is how it was significant to you. And it is a very interesting kind of icebreaker to reestablish a new relationship, right? So then the understanding is that the sessions close down, our relationship ends or changes, because the option is always there for a client to come back, and we really recap what the work has brought for the client, and that's the goal, right? I'm in this line of work to assist people to get to a point where they're no longer in therapy, right? Where they're no longer needing to seek a counselor. But I'm also of the opportunity and point of view where I feel like everybody could use a counseling periodically. I have clients who they come in once a month. Sometimes they come in every other month. They're now getting to that stage where, closure is probably close by. But it's also helpful, right? As many skills as we develop and as many tools we take to apply to life, every new situation can bring something else up, right? And so for me, the answer to the question of how long does counseling take is always going to be, well, it can take a short period or it can take a lifetime. It really depends on the person. I hope that's kind of helped. I feel like I've been talking, but I do hope that answers the question a little bit. It certainly is an important question. It's certainly a question that I would expect people to ask, because it's a very fair question. How long is this going to take? How long am I expecting to kind of work on this? And that is a perfect question, because that leads into the question about goals. It leads into the question about the person's story and what they're bringing. So I will see you in another video. Thank you for listening.